Hi guys, it's Terry and welcome back to another ASMR video. I, as you can see, don't have a whole lot of makeup on or any jewelry on, and that's because I'm getting ready to go to bed. I've got my pajamas on and I am ready to lay down and have a nice, relaxing rest. And I thought that it might be a nice idea if I read you to sleep. Sometimes, even in my adult life, I wish that somebody would come in and sit down by my bed and read me to sleep in a nice, soft voice. So I thought maybe I could do that for you. So if you would like to stop the video and go put on your comfiest pajamas and go wrap yourself in a soft, warm, fuzzy blanket or snuggle down under your covers. If you'd like to get a mug of warm chamomile and honey tea or any flavor you like, or a cool glass of water, or a cup of cocoa, just not coffee, unless it's decaf. Then you can have coffee. But at any rate, if you'd like to go do those things, I'll wait a minute while you pause the video and go do them. Okay, good. I hope you're ready to relax now. Let's take a moment and take a couple of deep breaths. There you go. That was nice, wasn't it? The story that I'm going to read you today is from the book Winnie the Pooh by A.A. Milne, who was born in London in 1882 on my birthday, January the 18th. Very proud of sharing the same birthday as A.A. Milne, because even before I knew that fact, I have always loved Winnie the Pooh. There's something very sweet and innocent about Winnie the Pooh that takes me back to my childhood days and makes me forget about things that are complicated. All right, I'm going to put my glasses on so that I can read properly. There we go. And I am reading from this beautiful book, The Complete Tales of Winnie the Pooh. On the back of it, it says, "Pooh, promise me you won't forget about me, ever, not even when I'm 100. Isn't that pretty? Okay. We are going to read in which we are introduced to Winnie the Pooh and some bees, and the stories begin. Okay. Have some page turning here. Our first picture, and these pictures are by Ernest H. Shepard, and he did the original pictures of the original Winnie the Pooh book. And our first picture shows Christopher Robin dragging Pooh down by his arm while his head goes thump, thump, thump. Isn't it amazing that our stuffed animal friends survived when we were kids? Okay, in which we are introduced to Winnie the Pooh and some bees, and the story begins. Here is Edward Bear coming downstairs now, bump, bump, bump on the back of his head behind Christopher Robin. It is, as far as he knows, the only way of coming downstairs, but sometimes he feels that there really is another way, if only he could stop bumping for a moment and think about it. And then he feels that perhaps there isn't. Anyway, here he is at the bottom and ready to be introduced to you, Winnie the Pooh. When I first heard his name, I said, just as you were going to say, but I thought he was a boy. So did I, said Christopher Robin. Well, then you can't call him Winnie. I don't. But you said he's Winnie the Pooh. Don't you know what "the" means? Ah, yes. Now I do, I said quickly. And I hope you do too, because it's all the explanation you're going to get. Sometimes Winnie the Pooh likes a game of some sort when he comes downstairs, and sometimes he likes to sit quietly in front of the fire and listen to a story. This evening, "What about a story?" said Christopher Robin. "What about a story?" I said. "Could you very sweetly tell Winnie the Pooh one?" "I suppose I could," I said. "What sort of stories does he like?" "About himself, because he's that sort of bear." "Oh, I see. So could you very sweetly?" "I'll try," I said. So I tried. Once upon a time, a very long time ago now, about last Friday, Winnie the Pooh lived in a forest all by himself under the name of Sanders. "What does under the name mean?" said Christopher Robin. "It means he had the name over his door in gold letters, and he lived under it." Winnie the Pooh wasn't quite sure, said Christopher Robin. "Now I am," said a growly voice. "Then I will go on," said I. One day when he was out walking, he came to an open place in the middle of the forest, and in the middle of this place was a large oak tree and a loud buzzing noise. Winnie the Pooh sat down at the foot of the tree. He put his head between his paws and began to think. Here is Pooh sitting outside the entrance to his home, and as you can see, he lives under the name of Sanders. Literally. First of all, he said to himself, that buzzing noise means something. You don't get a buzzing noise like that, just buzzing and buzzing without its meaning something. If there's a buzzing noise, somebody's making a buzzing noise. And the only reason for making a buzzing noise that I know of is because you're a bee. Then he thought another long time and said, the only reason for being a bee that I know of is making honey. And then he got up and said, the only reason for making honey is so I can eat it. So he began to climb the tree. And there he is, climbing up the tree. He climbed and he climbed and he climbed. And as he climbed, he sang a little song to himself. And it went like this. Isn't it funny how a bear likes honey? Buzz, buzz, buzz. I wonder why he does. Then he climbed a little further and a little further. And then just a little further. By that time, he had thought of another song. It's a very funny thought that if bears were bees, they'd build their nest at the bottom of trees, and that being so, if bees were bears, we shouldn't have to climb all of the stairs. He was getting rather tired by this time, so that is why he sang a complaining song. He was nearly there now, and if he just stood on that branch, crack! Oh no, there goes Pooh Bear, falling down out of the tree. Goodness. Oh, help, said Pooh, as he dropped 10 feet on the branch below him. If only I hadn't, he said, as he bounced 20 feet onto the next branch. You see, what I meant to do, he explained, as he turned head over heels and crashed onto another branch 30 feet below. What I meant to do? Of course, it's rather, he admitted, as he slithered down very quickly through the next 6 branches. It all comes, I suppose, he decided, as he said goodbye to the last branch, spun around 3 times, and then flew gracefully into a gorse bush. It all comes of liking honey so much. Oh, help. And there he is with the gorse bush. He crawled out of the gorse bush, brushed the prickles from his nose, and began to think again. And the first person he thought of was Christopher Robin. "Was that me?" asked Christopher Robin in an awed voice, hardly daring to believe it. "That was you." Christopher Robin said nothing, but his eyes got larger and larger, and his face got pinker and pinker. Now back to the story. So Winnie the Pooh went round to find his friend Christopher Robin, who lived behind a green door in another part of the forest. "Good morning, Christopher Robin," he said. "Good morning, Winnie the Pooh," said you. Because remember, we're telling this story to Christopher Robin. There's Christopher Robin opening his door. And there's Pooh. "I wonder if you've got such a thing as a balloon about you." "A balloon?" "Yes, I just said to myself coming along, I wonder if Christopher Robin has such a thing as a balloon about him. I just said it to myself, thinking of balloons and wondering." "What do you want a balloon for?" you said. Winnie the Pooh looked round to see that nobody was listening, put a paw to his mouth, and said in a deep whisper, "Honey." "But you don't get honey with balloons." "I do," said Pooh. "Well, it just so happened that you had been to a party the day before at the house of your friend Piglet, and you had balloons at the party. You had a big green balloon, and one of Rabbit's relations had a big blue one and had left it behind, being really too young to go to a party at all. And so you had brought the green one and the blue one home with you. Which one would you like?" you asked Pooh. He put his head between his paws and thought very carefully. "It's like this," he said. "When you go after honey with a balloon, the great thing is not to let the bees know you're coming. Now, if you have a green balloon, they might think you're only part of the tree and might not notice you. If you have a blue balloon, they might think you're only part of the sky and not notice you. And the question is, which is most likely?" "Wouldn't they notice you underneath the balloon?" you asked. "They might and they might not," said Winnie the Pooh. He never can tell with bees. He thought for a moment and said, "I shall try to look like a small black cloud. That will deceive them." "Well, then you'd better have the blue balloon," you said, and so it was decided. And here is Christopher Robin with the blue balloon. Well, you both went out with the blue balloon, and you took your gun with you, just in case, as you always did, and Winnie the Pooh went to a very muddy place that he knew of, and rolled until he was black all over. And then when the balloon was blown up as big, you and Pooh were both holding on to the string. You let go suddenly, and Pooh Bear floated gracefully up to the top of the sky and stayed there, level with the top of the tree and about 20 feet away from it. So here is Pooh after he rolled in the mud. He's all muddy, black all over, and he's leaving dark footprints behind him. "Hooray!" you shouted. "Isn't that fine?" shouted Winnie the Pooh down to you. "What do I look like?" "You look like a bear holding on to a balloon." "Not," said Pooh anxiously, "not like a small cloud in a blue sky?" Not very much. Well, perhaps from up here it looks different, and as you say, you never can tell with bees. There was no wind to blow him nearer to the tree, so there he stayed. He could see the honey, he could smell the honey, but he couldn't quite reach the honey. After a little while, he called down to you. "Christopher Robin," he said in a loud whisper. "Hello. I think the bees suspect something." "What sort of thing?" "I don't know, but something tells me they're suspicious." "Perhaps they think you're after their honey." "It may be that. You never can tell with bees." There was another little silence, and he called down to you again. "Christopher Robin." "Yes? Have you had an umbrella in your house?" "I think so." "I wish you would bring it out here and walk up and down with it and look at me every now and again and say, 'Tut, tut, it looks like rain.' I think if you did that, then it would help the deception which we are practicing on the bees." And here is Pooh hanging by his balloon with the suspicious bees. I think he's right. I think they are suspicious. I know I would be. Well, you laughed to yourself, "Silly old bear." But you didn't say it aloud because you were so fond of him, and you went home for your umbrella. "Oh, there you are," called down Winnie the Pooh as soon as you got back to the tree. "I was beginning to get anxious. I have discovered the bees are now definitely suspicious." "Shall I put my umbrella up?" you said. "Yes, but wait a moment. We must be practical. The important bee to deceive is the queen." "Can you see which is the queen from down there?" "No." And here is Christopher Robin walking around saying, "Tut, tut, looks like rain." A pity. Well, now, if you walk up and down with your umbrella saying, "Tut, tut, it looks like rain," I shall do what I can by singing a little cloud song, such as a cloud might sing. Go. So while you walked up and down and wondered if it would rain, Winnie the Pooh sang this song. "How sweet to be a cloud, floating in the blue. Every little cloud always sings aloud. How sweet to be a cloud, floating in the blue. It makes him very proud to be a little cloud." The bees were still buzzing as suspiciously as ever. Some of them indeed left their nest and flew all around the cloud as it began the second verse of the song, and one bee sat down on the nose of the cloud for a moment and then got up again. "Christopher, ow!" "Robin," called the cloud. "Yes, I have just been thinking, and I have come to a very important decision. These are the wrong sort of bees." "Are they?" "Quite the wrong sort. I should think that they would make the wrong sort of honey. Shouldn't you?" "Would they?" "Yes, so I think I shall come down." "How?" asked you. Winnie the Pooh hadn't thought about this. If he let go of the string, he would fall bump, and he didn't like the idea of that. So he thought for a long time, and he said, "Christopher Robin, you must shoot the balloon with your gun. Have you got your gun?" "Of course I have," you said, "but if I do that, it will spoil the balloon." "But if you don't," said Pooh, "I shall have to let go, and that would spoil me." Well, when he put it like that, you saw how it was, and you aimed carefully at the balloon and fired. "Ow!" said Pooh. "Did I miss?" you asked. "You didn't exactly miss," said Pooh, "but you missed the balloon." "I'm so sorry," you said, and you fired again. This time you hit the balloon, and the air came slowly out, and Winnie the Pooh floated down to the ground. There is our boy Winnie the Pooh, down on the ground, still all covered in mud. And there's Christopher Robin with his cork gun. But his arms were so stiff from holding on to the string of the balloon all that time that they stayed up straight in the air for more than a week. And whenever a fly came around and settled on his nose, he had to blow it off. And I think, though I'm not sure, that is why he was always called Pooh. Like that. Is that the end of the story? Said Christopher Robin. That's the end of that one. There are others. About Pooh and me, and Piglet, and Rabbit, and all of you. Don't you remember? I do remember, and then when I try to remember, I forget. That day when Pooh and Piglet tried to catch the heffalump, they didn't catch it, did they? No. Pooh couldn't because he hasn't any brain. Did I catch it? Well, that comes into another story. Christopher Robin nodded. I do remember, he said, only Pooh doesn't very well. That's why he likes you telling the stories. Because then it is a real story and not just a remembering. That's just how I feel, I said. Christopher Robin gave me a deep sigh, picked up his bear by the leg, and walked off to the door. At the door he turned and said, "Coming to see me have my bath?" "I might," I said. I didn't hurt him when I shot him, did I? Not a bit. He nodded and went out, and in a moment I heard Winnie the Pooh bump, 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 going up the stairs behind him. Okay, so that's our first Winnie the Pooh story. If you would like to hear more bedtime stories, whether it be another Winnie the Pooh story or a fairy tale, then please let me know in comments or send me a message via Facebook. I'm so glad that you let me tell you a story tonight. I hope it relaxed you, and I hope that you feel warm and fuzzy and ready to go to sleep. I hope that you're well and that you're staying safe, and I'll see you the next time. Good night.